What can you tell us about Matthew Sluka and his decision? And then we can sort of get into what you think it means writ large for the sport, Dan.
Yeah, Matthew Sluka is a kid who transferred to UNLV after 4 years at Holy Cross FCS program and won the starting job this summer. Became the starter at UNLV. They're 3-0. They're doing really well. They're ranked for the first time in a long time. Big game against Fresno this week, but on Tuesday night announced he was going to redshirt, preserve his final year of eligibility, and transfer after the season. And there's a lot of back and forth, but essentially he and his family and their agent believed they were going to get about $100,000 or $100,000 if they were going to play at UNLV. UNLV said that's not the case. They only received about $3,000 from the UNLV collective, which is basically like a booster group that gets together to pay quote unquote NIL money. And there's a dispute of whether they deserve it or not. There was nothing put in writing, and UNLV saying as a program that they can't pay them. The collective said this was never agreed to in writing, and we were never really going to give you $100,000. There's a lot of confusion, but Matthew Sluka has transferred from UNLV and caused a lot of eyebrow raising around college football, I'd put it.
So, I can't imagine those in charge of college football, whoever the hell they are, wherever they sit, that they can't want a kid saying, I was promised this money by somebody, and I'm now going to redshirt to leave. And then local concerns like a casino reaches out to the school saying, we'll pay the $100,000. And the school admits that we did get that phone call, but we did not accept that offer from gambling concerns. I mean, this is an absolute holy hell of a mess, Dan. And the question is how does it get fixed? How does it get fixed?
Yeah, it's certainly not the way they would love the public attention on this. Look, I'm of the belief this really isn't that big of a deal. We've had NIL for about 3 or 4 years. We've had 2 cases of publicly players saying, I was promised all this money, I didn't get it. The other was quarterback Jaden Rashada, who thought he was going to get $13 million to play at the University of Florida, and with a collective, and actually had a contract, but that collective dissolved and he didn't get it. He then went to Arizona State. Now he's at Georgia, as a backup at Georgia. And now we have the Sluka case. Now, there are other cases where people didn't get what they thought they should get or promised. There's always a lot of confusion with these things. Collectives will say things like, look, you're going to get a $100,000 car, and a player will, instead of getting a car, he doesn't get ownership of the car, he gets to drive the car, and then he has to give it back. And so there's different things like that come along. But one thing we know about college football and college sports in general, Rich, is they've been paying players, boosters have been paying players for generations. And in the past, Matthew Sluka would have had no way out. If once he took the $3,000, you could be promised 100, and boosters would do it. Coaches would do it all the time. They'd give him $3,000, and then you were blackmailed and stuck, because if you admitted you took the $3,000, the NCAA would end your eligibility. So this has been going on a long time. I think it's going on less now. We just have some public cases of it where you have it going. I don't see this. I see 2 cases over multiple years, and I don't see a big concern. I think there is a lot of people in college athletics who either want to declare everything a disaster, or in the media make a lot of ratings and money off of declaring everything a disaster. And I actually think 2 cases kind of prove the system's working pretty good.
No kidding, Dan. Because I'll offer a little pushback here. There's got to be multiple cases around the country of kids we don't know who left a school, who left a program, who went somewhere, was promised something, and their lives are completely upended. They had no idea that they owed taxes on this stuff, and now they're in debt. Or they want, and I understand it's caveat emptor, let the buyer beware, and what have you. I understand that, but the fact that there's few rules, hardly any enforcement, that it appears, can only seem to create an issue if a coach leaves and he goes somewhere else. There's an actual contract that's in a central office that a judge can actually, uphold. There's arbitration. There's all that stuff. With these kids, there's a transfer portal window, and good luck. And now a team in the middle of a season needs to switch quarterbacks. I consider that a problem.
Sluka should have signed a contract. That was his problem. He didn't sign a contract. So you can sign a contract with the collective, and then he would have the ability to go to civil litigation and remedy the situation. He didn't. A guy in Vegas promises you $100,000. That's a heck of a, good luck. Good luck with that. The house always wins. So good luck. But he should have signed a contract. I mean, they did a poor job. That is, buyer beware. Kids not knowing you pay taxes on earnings. There's 15, 16-year-olds in this country working fast food. They know you have to pay taxes. First time you get a check. This is unfortunate that it happened. It's not great for UNLV. You would absolutely be better off if the college athletics wants to recognize the players as employees, have them form with some kind of union or group, and then collectively bargain with them and have contracts and things like that could protect some of the stuff. But at the same time, this is what's going to happen. The NCAA has a very pro-player rule where you're allowed to play 4 games and then determine you want to redshirt and preserve your year eligibility. And they did this because there were a lot of unfair and unfortunate cases where, say, a kid was going to, you only have 4 years to play and you were going to redshirt your season. And then at the end of the year, team had a bunch of injuries and you had to get in there for like a game and a half and you blew your entire season because of something that really wasn't planned or it was out of everyone's control. So they created this rule where it's like, hey, you have a 4-game window. Now that can be exploited. Okay. If a player, I'm not going to say a hypothetical player, comes out and starts as quarterback at UNLV and starts with this great season and says, hey, I'm getting $100,000 here, but I'm now got enough tape that I could redshirt, save my last year and go to the Power 5 for, say, $1 million next year. They can do that. That loophole is out there. But if you want to close that loophole, what are you going to do? Force a kid to play? Are you going to say, world determine whether you're allowed to redshirt or you're allowed to transfer? I mean, with mental health, it's not going to work. So it's the uniqueness of college athletics and the limited time frame that this window is open, and trying to close it would cause other issues. We have not seen a million of these things happen. You would also have other schools say, am I going to pay $1 million for a kid that just quit on his team? So there's sort of market forces that would correct it. But this isn't ideal. You've outsourced labor. You've outsourced labor to a collective. But college sports has always outsourced labor to a collective and to boosters. It's just now there's more openness to it and more remedy to it, and we're not seeing a million cases. Does it happen? Sure. Is this a great situation? No. But if the Slukas had signed a contract with the UNLV collective, then everyone could sit there and say, hey, you actually owe them the money. Pay them. They didn't. They took a potentially verbal agreement that I think people at UNLV would say, we never made that deal. And this is where you have the mess.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku Channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.